Okay, well, let's get this done. Um, so basically, this is a testimonial of our work we did. When was it? Last week, Friday.
Wednesday.
Was it Wednesday? Okay, we did Wednesday. Oh, right. Yeah, we did Wednesday, and then some things happened on the following days. No, in the day Wednesday, then the next day, and it obviously continued. And then you came to see me on Friday, which is cool.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I guess the best place to start is what 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 was it that you were struggling with the most, and why did we do a session? From your perspective, what were we working on for you?
Um, we worked on one major aspect, but it's been very clear, kind of leading off the days and the days leading up to there were many facets that sat
Yeah.
um, in the same kind of space and realm of just like, let me see if I can make it clear. Just like there's an energetic disparity that I've been working with for a very long time. Um,
How long?
since childhood.
Right. Yes.
So working with that energetic disparity, it's literally spent so much time in my life and been in so many different places that it it's it's really been hindering moving forward in all kinds of ways for me, and a very big sticking point because it's been something that has probably caused me a lot of suffering for a
Right.
very long time.
Yeah.
And so to be able to be in front of you, knowing what you offer and what you do was the biggest gift, because I could sit there with you in that space and we could work actually really potently and very precisely work on it. Um,
Yeah.
and also, so just like I'm trying to,
Well, I guess we can ask it a different way. What was the problem that how did this symptom show up for you in your life with struggling with having this thing that we couldn't get to the bottom of for so many years? What were you
um,
experiencing?
I was experiencing a lot of I can feel it shifting out. So that's very interesting, as you can feel the things that you're ticking off as you go along after the days that have
Yes.
come to it. So the problem that I came to you with is that I didn't feel like um, I could power up energetically well. And we discussed it being like sitting through kind of lower in my hips and through my throat.
Mm.
And so what that kind of like translates for me is that it doesn't give me a voice in a lot of places where I need to
Right.
speak up.
Right.
And in that space of not speaking up for myself, I'd always spent a lot of time giving my energy away
Right. Right.
in lots of different ways. And to see that, I mean, when you give your energy away, it doesn't actually allow you to really power up through your system because there's no energetic integrity that can actually
Mm.
hold you in place.
Yeah, and
Um,
practically speaking, how would that play out in your work, in your relationships, um,
so
anything else that you've been experiencing?
yeah, so in relationships, in work, always giving more energy than I kind of was receiving back.
Mm.
Also allowing people to really mess with me
Mm.
um,
Like push your
in
back.
lots of different. Mm.
Yeah.
So no boundaryless, no boundary at all.
Yeah.
Um, and also leaving me feeling really, I know I use the word violated quite a lot, but it
Yes.
was
Good.
that kind of
The
space
key
of
word.
just really feeling, yeah,
Yeah.
um, really like nerves sore to the touch always.
Mm.
And so,
Right. Right. So always, yeah, I remember was being apprehensive about who's going to invade your space next.
yeah, hypervigilant.
Type of
And
it.
it causes a lot of anxiety
Right.
just in general interactions. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of just very practical examples.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, all very linked to a
Your
very
partner,
specific.
I know that during the session we were speaking about an interaction that you had with your partner, when you feel, you use that word again, feeling violated. What was that actually?
What is it actually? So, sorry, partner, I'm gonna tell some stuff. My partner sometimes has quite a big outburst of energy,
Mm,
and I would translate that as something that would hurt me
right on.
versus something that would actually just be an expression of where he was or what's happening.
Yeah.
And in that space, I would really try to really control the situation, because the thought process and the place I'd be in, that whatever, if he's not okay, then this is not going to be okay for me. I'm not going to be okay. And that obviously really you miss each other
Absolutely.
so completely. And it was so nice. So I have to tell you this after the session. So yesterday, actually, he had another
Yeah.
like outburst of energy. And with the tools that we discussed, like I was like, oh, that's really interesting. But I didn't have the same emotional charge, which is freaking epic,
That's the
because
point.
that
Yeah.
little bit of space that I had created, like with the space, I could actually sit there with it and go, oh, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
I don't have to react that way.
Yeah.
And as I did that, I just started to ask him questions. I was like, oh, babe, so what's happening there? Are you okay? Like, I don't even know, are you okay? I didn't even say, are you okay? I was like, what's happening on that side? And then he's like, I'm so angry because this has happened and this has
Yeah.
happened. And I was like, cool, cool, cool.
Let him
Like, let me know when you're done. Like, and I kind of like just kind of flitted
express it.
around
Yeah.
while he finished it.
Yeah.
And he came back being like very, very like I watched during my little bit of questioning, I watched him like, implode. Like he basically like had like implode. He basically, yeah, I could see him getting really disheveled, that I wasn't being like, hey,
Yeah. The
what's going
dynamic
on? What's
relapse.
this
Yeah.
up? Yeah. And he came back and really tried to explain himself of what he was trying to communicate, which was such a different way of approaching.
Yeah.
And it was so nice as well, because I could finally see what he was trying to tell me. So,
Clarity.
yes. So he was trying to explain that he really wants to support me, and he doesn't ever want to feel that um, the idea that I've brought forward, he's brought down.
Mm.
But he realizes that there's also a part of me that has to just go now,
Mm.
and got to go do the things. And
Mm.
I was like, I really appreciate you saying that, because I
Yeah.
had a feeling I knew that.
So
And
basically, you could receive.
yes, I could receive the beautiful information that he was gifting me with,
Yeah. That's beautiful.
which was, and
Yeah.
then we ended up just really laughing
That's awesome.
about it afterwards,
That's
which
really, really cool.
is
What
very cool.
what a different dynamic, eh?
Huge,
Yeah.
like chalk and cheese, like, um, otherwise we've been grumpy for days, both of us in our separate corners.
Right on. Yeah.
That's
That's
no good.
really lovely. And then work-wise, how was this affecting you work-wise?
Um, I was getting myself into situations that I would feel like I had given so much, and almost like dragging my clients along with me through the process. And also, that's very tiring. But
Right?
also, um, that I'd put myself in situations that, like, it's a strong arm it, like,
Oh,
it's very,
even you're like, I
very.
can't believe I did that. Right now, you're like,
I'm sitting there like I can't believe it, but I can see how that pattern was repeated. So it's been really beautiful, the kind of unfolding of it.
Mhm.
It's really been a beautiful process of watching how the energy has unfolded. So a lot of like pop-ups in memory that comes with it.
Mm.
Um,
And when you're experiencing the pop-ups of those memories right now, if you think about them again, how do you relate to them now versus how you used to relate to them in your, and then we'll just circle back to
com-
the point again.
yeah, completely differently, because there's spaciousness around it now. Because especially when you've experienced them, it kind of like takes you back to that sore point kind of all the time. But
Absolutely.
now with the spaciousness about it, I can actually insert the right, I've been called it the right coding.
The
Because
right
I'm like, oh,
dynamic.
that's, yes,
You can
um,
respond.
yes. But also there's like, but like, listen, I wasn't that shit. or like that's not what that means. And that a lot of
Basically what you're saying is less self-doubt.
yes, huge
Wow.
amount.
Yeah.
But just a lot less self-doubt, but also a holding of what I'm worth,
Yeah.
which changes a lot. Because the minute that you're like, okay, cool, I'm not a completely useless failure of a human, everything feels different.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
so in work, you were giving too much of yourself, you were dragging your clients along. And yeah, we spoke about afterwards, well, after we did our session, then we continued our communication back and forth just to support certain things, because now you're like, I think what really happened during that session was we found that root. We gave it a different meaning, a completely different meaning. And sometimes our subconscious mind doesn't want to go there and stay stuck there, because it's got a bias, a survival bias to, if you go there, because the original meaning we gave it is too hard to look at, right? But
yeah.
when we went down there and we actually, from a detached way, looked at that dynamic, we could see the truth of the interaction of that event.
Yeah.
And it completely cleared away what at that age you made it mean, so that now the adult Dale, with so much more wisdom, so much more experience, so much more insight, can go, oh, that's not what it meant then.
Yeah.
And it
Exactly.
completely just changed it. And I think my whole point of mentioning that is doing that for that major event then allowed you to be able to take that resource and apply it in this dynamic, in that dynamic, and the next one, and anyone that you are going to face moving forward.
Yeah.
What was interesting about the interaction was that it felt like a bit of a recalibration for you. And I think the support afterward was just about fine tuning the responses, while the old programming is there still, but it's like dying off,
Yeah.
moving into something new. So what
Yeah.
happened? What did you actually learn with this interaction with one of your clients? Tell us a little bit about that, because that's cool.
So I basically fired my client. Like,
Yeah. What was happening before, and like,
so I had a high profile client, high-ish profile client. And so what I do is I basically pull people. I used to pull people through. I don't pull them anymore. They
maybe
must
could you
go there.
quickly just explain what it is that you do?
Yes. So I call myself a transformation artist,
Yeah.
but it kind of sits in a few different realms. So I started out as a makeup artist, and well, I started out as a fashion designer, and then I became a makeup artist, and then went off to study life coaching because I couldn't get apparently deep enough during this transformation, and then studied life coaching and still couldn't get deep enough, and so now like adding on to that repertoire, but I I've also traveling alongside the learnings has been a learning of looking after the health of my body, having been a really sickly kid,
Mm.
and then having worked looking to heal myself over the years has created like a bit of a parallel with all of that. So when it comes to transformation, it's me having transformed myself, but also really wanting to gift that to other people, because just the difference in feeling that can be is possible,
Yeah.
to feel different and better,
Yeah.
mostly. Um, and so I do liver cleanses with people now, and lovely people, liver cleanses and coaching sessions that dovetail on each other, and the cleanses basically act as a tool for me to help them shift themselves mentally, emotionally,
Totally.
physically
Cool.
as
Yeah.
we go through.
And so with this client, what happened?
So my client is on a very big movie here in Cape Town at the moment. I met him a couple of weeks ago. He had to lose an incredible amount of weight. I do know how to do that safely. And it was basically 2 weeks of him dictating how he was going to do my program.
Right. Right.
Um, and me pushing back against them, but not having enough of a pushback for it to actually feel like it could stick.
Yeah, because how can you when you're like always in constant self-doubt? It's basically like letting them infiltrate your self-certainty and what you know you
Yes,
can do for them and what you've designed specifically for them. Because what do people do when they say they want to transform, but they're bringing their old patterns back with them into your program?
yes, it doesn't. There's so much deconditioning in that has to
Yeah,
happen just to be able to take a step. And he kept pushing, kept changing goals,
yeah.
settings, not showing up for check-ins,
And
expecting more than what I had negotiated with him. Sorry,
what
say again?
and practically, how did that turn out? Like you had to show up for meetings, extra
Yeah,
meetings,
yes.
seeing him
Extra
in
meetings.
person, wasting your time and your resources,
Yes.
a lot of inefficiency.
A lot of inefficiency, a lot of non-communication, like just a lot of like not, as I'd be asking questions, he'd not be answering.
Right.
And after the session, it really was, I think it was, especially with the session, it was what I needed to know within myself
Mm,
to be able to take that step
totally.
very purposefully of being like, no, we're not doing this. We're not even going to play this game anymore. Please go find somebody else to play with.
And then what was his response to you after you decided that you were gonna like refund?
Completely different, a completely changed tune. He was like, well, I'll do the homework. I'm going to go read up on what we need to read up on. I was like, I needed that at the beginning. This was, I'm like, no, I actually, no, I don't feel like, no, no, there's no energy that I've given enough. Thank you so
Basically, it
much.
was like he was gonna negotiate you back into the same dynamic when you'd already decided that you're done.
Yes.
Brilliant.
And the funniest thing is that the renegotiation, so one of the sticking points that he had was that he was unwilling to do Zoom calls. And like
Yeah.
a lot of my business model is, he knew always that my business model is based on being able to be mobile.
Yeah.
And he was not happy with that. So even in the renegotiation, even in the message of renegotiation, he's like, let's meet in person to renegotiate. And I was like, let's not. Thank you so much. Please let me reimburse you. Tell me where to send it. So
That's awesome.
yeah,
Wow.
it's, but also like knowing, like just knowing where the energetic boundaries are. So I've literally like logged him off on all the folders that had information in it. Like it literally removed him step by purposeful step to make sure that he's not, he can't access me. If,
Yeah. Yeah, and it's not out of defense, it's just done with that.
no, it's super done.
That's brilliant. And since Friday, anything also else to report in terms of, learning how to navigate dynamics with your partnership, your partner now, your work, your client?
It,
What else has have evolved since?
I, it's not one place, it's all places. Like even when I'm aware, when I danced a burlesque show on Saturday,
Yeah.
and I was aware of the energy plays dynamics of where I would usually have attached,
Right.
and I was like, oh, that's super interesting that I feel like attaching there. Oh, but I don't really have to anymore, and kind of like went off in another
What do you
direction.
mean by attaching your energy? In what specific way? What was it, how would that look practically to you?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
so I would take responsibility for things that were not my responsibility to take.
Right.
Which ends up you feeling like you're just giving more and more, and but it wasn't your job to do it.
It wasn't your job to do it. So basically,
Yeah.
being able to be self-contained.
Yes.
Then
And
what did
caring of my own energy and
Mm,
but like, so what I would do is that I would take responsibility for everybody else's energy first, and
mm.
then my secondary. But the shift happens where I was first. I was like, oh, let me just check if that's something that I would like to be part of first.
Did everybody
And
die because you didn't do it that way anymore?
No, no one even noticed, and I was so much happier. Like, I mean, I was very upset that no one died. I just want to tell you.
Really?
No, I'm really not. I was, I
They
mean, I was
don't
like,
need me.
surely something. I was like, surely something dramatic should happen because I'm deciding not to do this, right? Um,
Funny.
but
Yeah.
no, but just a much better, like normally when I dance the show, I feel so spaced out afterwards because there's so much going on and so many places that my energy is
Got a
like
cold
just
energy.
demanded.
Yeah.
Like it's because it's been something that has been there for them before, and now I could be like, oh no, thank you. And they're like, excuse me, what? I'd be like, oh,
Most
like,
detail I know.
yeah, exactly. What? I mean, I also was just there for my own enjoyment,
That's
which
really
is very
divine.
it's so nice. It's so
Yeah.
nice. I wasn't drained, like I couldn't get up out of bed for a full 24 hours afterwards either.
Amazing.
Um,
So,
yeah,
yeah, relationships all over. Relationships is at the center of everything wherever you go with anybody around.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
really cool. What was your favorite part of our session that we did?
Um, I have many. The one that pops to my mind very first is um a very unique body sensation. My body vibrated
Yeah.
like, and also had kind of like energy centers that felt like it moved around, and old sensations came up,
Yeah.
but really quite like my teeth were vibrating at one point, which was like to experience that and like to also know that it was part of the process, like with you explaining what's happening. I've felt these places before, but because of like not understanding what was happening to me, it was very hard to release in that moment and allow
Totally.
it to happen.
Yeah.
Whereas with your guidance, it was a completely different story. I
Totally.
felt stronger coming out of that than if I had done that, tried to do that
Yeah.
by myself.
Facilitation is sometimes is so important. And like we're self-development freaks, where you're a coach. I've been coaching, I've been all types of things. And it's different when you allow somebody to be there every
Yes.
step of the way to guide you through. It's great. Yeah.
Mm,
That's really lovely, Dale.
okay.
I had a brilliant time doing that with you.
I must tell you this as well. I like um ever since then my body feels less reactive even to things that I've eaten.
Ah, interesting.
I know, right?
What?
So fantastic. Like I even forgot to take vitamins yesterday. And if I didn't take vitamins every single day, my body would be like, what is going on?
Wow.
I normally feel the like a grainy edge on the inside. Like did not had that through I forgot a good few days since Wednesday. But not feeling the same at all.
Interesting.
Um,
That's amazing.
that is amazing.
Yeah,
And
mind body connection is so important. So it just goes to show that when you actually collapse like some core wounds around certain things, it shifts your physiology and the way it responds. Yeah,
just feeling overall less inflamed in this
amazing.
moment. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very special. It's literally what I've been looking for in terms of diet for a long time.
Except we just worked with your mind a little bit more.
Mm.
Beautiful. I love that. Okay, well, I don't know if I have any more questions to ask you. I just wanted to capture a general picture. And I think moving forward, I mean, it's only been a couple of days,
Mm.
less than a week. So I can't wait to see how this plays out, like weeks moving forward, months moving forward,
Yeah,
and long term.
yeah. I
So,
would love. I like for everybody that's like wherever you send this to, if you cut it up and send it around, I just
mm,
working with you is a profound experience because you bring so much understanding and knowledge and care into the session that is it's really magical to be able to be there and to be held in such a way, especially the way that you did for me. It's this stuff that I can see that I can start to go towards, instead of always trying to fix things that are kind of getting away, because you never get any traction forward. Yeah,
totally. Yeah, it's a completely different orientation to
and
waste
also
energy.
yeah, and also I can see how this is more effective than anything else I've ever done.
Thank you so much, Dale. You know, it's great. I love what I do. I really do.
So damn good at it as well. So
Yeah, well, I've been practicing for a long time.
yeah, we've been waiting for you for a long time. So we're like, yes, she's finally here.
Yeah. No, you've seen me over the years go from many different evolutions of myself, but it's brilliant. The journey has been amazing to get where I am now. And I can't wait for myself. Same thing like you, is really to see how I evolve moving forward. But I think one of the biggest themes for me now is really more efficiency. Yeah, it used to take me a very long time to work with clients. They'd need months. Now, just from one session.
Yeah, that collapsing time and space. We're here for it.
Yeah, and you were just so brilliant with it. I think what makes a brilliant client, and I know you know this from your experience, what we've just said, is a person who knows that it's going to seem hard because of our already like survival strategies that we've been relying on that are continuing to play out. And that's the whole point. That's the person's experience, is the struggle they have with their own patterning, their own programming, and the way that the unconscious mind has locked you in to those biases.
Yes.
And then it's always going to try and reenact these things as you project them out onto your relationships and every other dynamic that you're hypervigilantly looking at now to self-preserve, right? And when you untie those knots, or you actually get onto the scent of these triggers, it's actually a gift, because you can actually you can hunt them down. You can hunt them down. You can get to the core, the heart of the matter, and we can shift them.
Yes.
Release you.
Yes, exactly. The releasing. It's like a liberation.
Liberation. And
to
basically,
be able to be for myself.
Totally. And the thing about the way that I do this is that I didn't do that. You actually did that. I just used the feedback you gave me, fed it back to you in a certain way. And you went like this, like this, like this, like this, and like this. Kind of, if I'm using my hands as a metaphor for
yeah.
kind of like what happened.
I get it.
That's how the unconscious mind works. It works in metaphors, gestures, a lot of symbology and signs. So the bill that flew in through your window, if I actually had to like break down the clip of some of those parts in the session, you can actually see that beetle fly through your window past you like this. It was so amazing.
I looked it up, but it's actually a June bug.
A June bug.
A June bug, and it actually is a sign of deep transformation and
what?
good luck. And so was the ladybird that was sitting on the window itself.
Yeah, that was amazing.
So it's like there's an element of magic which also lands in here, which is it's just the connecting with that kind of field. It's something that I've personally wanted for myself for the longest time, and to feel like I had a way of getting there was such a huge, like, just heart opening, delightful, no matter how hard it looks, because it's not, you like, normally when I go to fire my client, hold on, you just gotta breathe. Right. But like now it's like, okay, cool, this is what has to happen.
Yeah. So you were basically like the perfect client because you kind of like knew that this is worth it.
mm,
Instead of having a client like that was in your reality from a
mm,
place of anticipating resistance.
yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see what happens now with this new frame, which you move.
There's also, yeah, and there's actually one more thing that happened. I feel like I've just been pulling all these things in. Um, it's been great though. I had a complete stranger walk up to me. So in the huge show, we danced a very huge show on Saturday. And I had a person that I had never met before walk up to me. I danced in a group for 2.5 minutes. That was my whole contribution on Saturday, which is normally not my contribution. But walked straight up to me, held my hands, and went, "Thank God you show up. You oozed magic.
Oh, wow.
Your very presence changed everything."
Oh, amazing.
And then hugged me intensely and walked away, not to be seen again.
Amazing.
And like that
Wow.
was, I was like,
Gave me
yes.
gooseflesh. That's beautiful, Dale. I'm so happy for you. Like, really. Yeah. And thank you for allowing me to facilitate for you and have that experience for myself. That was amazing. I love it.
Thank you. Like, thank you so much, like deeply, and like
Pleasure. All right, I guess that's it for now. And I will speak to you in the weeks coming, I guess, as you know,
oh,
as you like.
I wanted to ask you,
Yeah.
like, I like all the resources that I have. Please, can I work with you again? Like, I've got 6,000 rand. What can we do for that? Is there anything we can do with
We
it?
will talk about that
Okay.
later.
Okay,
But
cool.
of course, we're going to work together. Actually, I have some ideas already.
Amazing. I would love that. I would love that so much. And please also send me the other recording. I haven't.
Okay, I will. Brilliant. I'll send that recording to you as well. It's fucking brilliant. I got to rewatch it as well.
I was like, let's solidify this new code a little bit more.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to rewatch it even because, you know, as we sit there and do the session, you're really like tapped in. So it'd be interesting to observe what goes on as well. So, you know, when you're not in it, but you're observing what happened. So it's going to give you some awesome insights as well.
I had this feeling to open up one of my journals. Let's see, there's so many things happened. Walked up to one of my journals, and the thing that I told you about the, I think on Friday with the 3 channels to the pyramids,
Yeah.
3 lines, I opened up on that page. Like, I didn't know where it was. I was just like, okay. And then the notes that I wrote around it, I was like, I'm just gonna put this down.
Wait a minute, what do you mean?
I out of all the pages I could have opened up, there was a vision around it that was really beautiful, which I felt like everything in that moment just knitted together. I had a vision on Monday of a really big, I've actually been obsessed this whole week so far with a really big woman, but like a giant. And she was mine, like she was part of me. And I tried to integrate her into me on Monday, but I actually didn't know that I didn't even remember the dream. Thank goodness I wrote it down, but I dreamt her. And then that was next to the page of the 3 lines to the
Interesting. See how the mind communicates through metaphors, visions, symbols. It's awesome. Yeah, it's cool. Thank you for sharing that with me. And I'm gonna end it over here. I think this is a great place to like log off and whatever. Thank you so much for being here and allowing me to do this. It's brilliant. All right, I'll chat to you soon.
Cool. Bye.